canción para mi gente, con una pasión tan fuerte. Ay, 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 ahora sigo cantando y sigo gozando, yo sigo cantando y sigo gozando.
YouTube family. Welcome to another Two Family Homestead live stream. Woo!
Well, it's Tuesday. See, we got a couple people that have made it here tonight. Bushcraft family. How you doing? Royal Amethyst Acres, Built on the Rock Homestead. Geeky Gardens, Britain Farm Homestead, Mama Z, Ultimate Gardening, Copper Kettle, The Little Farmer's Farm, Ultimate Gardening. All right, well, so how is everybody doing tonight? Good, I hope. I don't know what the weather's like in your neighborhood, but it's getting to be a little bit on the chilly side around here. So I kind of thought that, last week we had such a fun time with Crystal and showing us all how to use Canva and all of their templates and make things easier and all that. Everything she talked about was doing thumbnails and banners. So I thought we'd get a little bit into some video tonight. And I've had a couple people, more than a couple, had a few people ask me just what's a LUT? And what are they there for? Why do we use them? Because people are finding these in their editing programs, and they're kind of curious as to what's going on. Because they see them, they don't know exactly what they do. They know that there's a color change, but they don't know exactly what the reasoning is behind it. So I thought maybe we'd take a little bit of a deep dive into LUTs. So I kind of have prepared a little bit here, and I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 or so YouTube videos to reference that I'll be putting those into the chat as we go along here. But in a nutshell, a LUT helps you color grade your footage. And boy, now we're getting into the big words, color grade. So what exactly is color grading? Well, some people might say, well, it's color correction, but that's technically not true. If you follow the steps in producing a video, a finished piece, the first step you should have is in color correction. And then after you have it color corrected, that's when you start your color grading. If your video, especially from different cameras and stuff like that, is not color corrected to begin with, if the white balance isn't correct for the various cameras, no amount of color grading is ever going to make up for it. So let me just share with you here. Bring this over. So here is the difference between color correction and color grading. And we'll kind of start with that. We'll kind of get a little background here before we get into the LUTs. So the color correction, that refers to the process where each clip of footage is altered to match a consistent standard of appearance. In other words, your white balance. Do all your blues look the same between one clip to another clip? For example, you're filming somebody. They're wearing a bright red shirt, but then maybe with a different camera, it's not showing up bright red. Maybe it's showing up more of a faded out red. It's the color is just not there. So what you need to do is you need to correct that color first. You need to get all the clips lined up. And this can also have an effect with the atmospheric conditions if the light in the sky changes. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get your color correction going.
Tori has a question for you.
If it's better to do it in JPEG or RAW, just record in RAW. Is that the question, or is there, did I miss something?
I'm assuming she's talking to you.
Okay. I need more information to understand what it is you're actually asking me, Tori. But let's maybe go a little bit more basic here. I want you to stop and think about what a camera, today's camera, actually does in the way of capturing this image. It's really pretty impressive because through the lens of the camera, all that comes through it is light, and it falls onto this sensor in the back, and this sensor then has to change all this into this electrical circuitry that is amount of light, focus, color, all this crazy stuff. And it all has to do it at a rate of, in some cases, 60, 120, 180 frames per second. I mean, it's just phenomenal, the amount of information that transpires within a camera nowadays. It was a whole different world before the digital world was around, when you were still using the film.
That's the question for color grading.
Well, the JPEG and RAW, I mean, it's a different format. It doesn't matter what you do, but you should do it all the same. You can, for example, the webcam that I'm shooting through right now is producing a JPEG image because I find that to be the best image for the least amount of overhead with this particular Logitech camera. So it's a JPEG image. Doesn't have to be, but it is. That's through my testing. That's what it came out to be. So I'm going to say it's going to depend on what your number one abilities, equipment, and sense of well-being for doing this. You find the most pleasing finished product to take home. But let's not go too far off into the weeds. I mean, I got a lot of stuff to go through here. So the color correction is the first thing. Once you have your color corrected throughout your video, you can then start into color grading. And just as it states right here, color grading is what you have done in the color correction a step further. It enhances by manipulating the colors to create a new tone or mood to achieve a certain look to tell the story. Now, obviously, some people are much better at telling stories than others are. We have some great storytellers in the chat right now, and we have some that are not here. Everybody knows Morgan Gold is a fantastic storyteller. And based upon your delivery of your video concept, you can use tones within the video to convey feelings of your video.
Coppercutter wants a question for you.
Can you correct wrinkles? Well, certainly you can correct wrinkles, absolutely. But you're much too young to worry about that anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it. Here's some examples on the page that I have here right now. This is between ungraded and graded footage. You can see they have the line split in the middle here. So the coloring has already been set on this, but just by color grading this, they've added a lot more blue, and they've set the tone for this. Another example here is the same picture. If the graded part was taken off, it would all look exactly like it does on the left-hand side here. So that's just a couple quick examples of the color grading. But this all started out with what's a LUT. Okay? And a LUT is short for lookup table. LUT, lookup table. And what it does, it's a set of computations to adjust various degrees of color and light and so forth in a nonlinear format to your footage. Or it could be just to a picture. I mean, this does not have to be just to a footage. And one of the absolute great, I feel anyway, great videos out there on utilizing LUTs is this LUTs, the complete video guide, the basics of color grading LUTs. Now, I'm not going to play these videos. I mean, this video is 20 minutes long. But I'm going to put the link to this into the chat. And I urge you, if you have if you really want to learn more about this, that these are some things you follow back up on and take the time to go look at. I guess the most basic term of a LUT is it's a preset color look for your video footage. That's probably the simplest, most broken down method. It's a preset look, and it makes the grading process go much faster. Another very good one on LUTs is by Look Labs Roundtable, single dimensional versus three-dimensional LUTs. And in a nutshell, the three-dimensional LUTs give the appearance of a lot more depth of your footage. This can be done somewhat with camera lenses, where you can see the background being out of focus. And I'm sure you've seen various films and stuff where it focuses in and out depending upon the message they're trying to convey. Well, you can do this to a degree with just these LUTs. So let me get this one also up here, and we'll put this in. And it is right there. There are actually more than two types of LUTs. The single dimensional, the three dimensional. There's what they call transformative LUTs. There's calibration LUTs. Some editing programs have a lot more functionality built into them. I think, yeah, Big Bear's in here. Jason's in here. He uses Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro has a very, very large selection of LUTs available to him. But for those of you other folks in here, I've touted for years Filmora, and I also speak very highly of PowerDirector. They both have LUTs, and with either one of those, you can actually add LUTs. You can go out and buy LUTs. You can go purchase them. You can get them for free. They're all over the internet. You can create your own custom LUTs, but we'll get more into that. But they're typically used in nonlinear editors like Premiere, Final Cut, Avid. DaVinci Resolve is more of a coloring software, or speed grade. You can also find them in motion graphics programs like After Effects and Affinity Design. Let me just get it pulled up here once. Okay, what I have on the screen here now is Wondershare Filmora. And they don't have a huge selection of LUTs baked into the program. You can add more, but they do have a real nice selection, and they have some that just present wonderful examples of single-dimensional and three-dimensional LUTs. So what I have here on the screen in front of you is the Wondershare Filmora editing program, and I have a photograph in here. This is a photograph I just took from Naked Gardener. That is not the case. That is not the case at all. I'm sorry. Matter of fact, we'll get into the stories on the camera here in just a little bit. You're going to find that the more expensive your camera is, the better your camera is, the more you need LUTs. Because the bigger, more expensive cameras utilize what they call a log system. And many, many of these prosumer and professional cameras, if you just look at the raw footage coming out of them, it's almost like they're covered in a fog. They don't pop. There's nothing good about them. And that's because they do what's called log shooting. And we'll get to that here in a little bit. So we'll just keep that in the back of your head here, is that the cost of your camera doesn't have anything to do with it. Matter of fact, the more expensive needs it more so than the cheap. So anyway, we are in Filmora, and I just have a picture here that I downloaded from Pixabay, I think. Just a scenic picture here. And to get into the LUTs area on Filmora, on the timeline, you just simply do a right click and go to color correction. That's how I do it. There's a couple other methods to do it, just like with any Windows program. There's multiple methods to get in, but just go to color correction. Well, that opens up another window here. This is a really, really nice feature in Filmora that PowerDirector doesn't have. But they open up everything here in a new window. They have all the preset LUTs over here on the left-hand side. And then they have the ability to go in and alter the LUTs. This is where you are changing all your values, the white balance, the 3D capabilities, the color, the light. If you want to jet around your picture, all of those things. And then you can save those as presets. But in a nutshell, what these do here on the presets, and we'll just run through a few of them, If you want to use what they're terming a cool LUT, if I click that, you can see how it instantly changes the picture. It gives a bluish cast. So let's go down here to a darken, and that's going to increase some of the depth there. You want to take the color out? We can go to a black and white. That just removes the color. Some of these are based upon the backgrounds and styles done in some famous movies such as Star Wars. That's what this one is. This is from The Walking Dead. Harry Potter, Game of Thrones. But those are all just pretty standard presets. Let's do this. Let's jump into 3D LUTs. This is where they've added some more functionality in the process, in the tables, the lookup tables that are utilized. So here the black and white film, and you can see this gives more depth than the other one where it just took the color out. So let me go back just so you can kind of see the difference. Just remember how this looks. And we'll go back to all the presets, and then this is just black and white. This is removing the color. So we'll leave it there, just removing the color. Now let's add some more depth to it. So that's this. And I think it's very easy to see how much more enhanced the picture is. Cool film. The Harry Potter. And we can compare these. We can go back and compare these with other ones, but you can sit here and play with this thing all day to get it to your liking. You can develop your own style. There's no right or wrong here. There just is no right or wrong with utilizing LUTs, because you are producing your own piece of work, your own art, if you would, and your own style. And perhaps your style is you want more depth. You want colors that pop. You want this this look that's you're just not going to get any other way. So this is how it's done in Wondershare Filmora. So let's just we'll just click OK here, and you can see it has that LUT on it here. I'm going to go ahead and remove that and delete the effect. And let's go ahead and look at PowerDirector once. So this is PowerDirector. This is the same picture. This is the same picture. So with PowerDirector, their LUTs are located in the effect room. So we'll click on that, and they give you 120 different LUTs in here. And they have, based upon somebody's, I'm going to just use the term thought process, what they feel would look best in certain areas. For example, food type items, and they give you a sample picture to glance through them. But if we just go through these, you can see very quickly what it does to the picture that's up there. Just to get an idea what this is going to look like on the picture that you want to apply it to. So I'm going to say, let's take this LUT, which is Food Dark 11. We're just going to take it, and we're just going to drop it on this picture. Now, you had to kind of look real quick to see if that picture changed. But I can also show you this way. Let me go back here now, because this one has the effect on it. So I can take that and I can turn it off and turn it back on. So you can see the difference that effect does in that picture. but they have absolutely just a ton of various effects. So this is the outdoor LUT. You turn it off, turn it back on. It gives it some yellowish cast. If my camera is too much in the way or makes it so you can't see it well enough, just say something. I'll take me off the screen. I don't need to be here. And we'll just take it off. So that's the difference in these two programs. I'm sure that there's a large number of video editing programs that have LUT capabilities available. Some have them built into it with a nice big selection, like Premiere Pro, PowerDirector, Filmora has a smaller selection, but you can add your own. You can add your own as well. All right, let's go back. Let me get these out of the way. So we talked briefly here about the single dimensional and the three-dimensional LUTs. And bottom line, what all this does is it helps your digital footage to mimic a 35 millimeter film. The way that 35 millimeter films were color graded, is they used color wheels, and they ran them through filters. So they had graduated acetate colors that they actually projected through to produce various overall colors of the finished scenes and stuff that you would see in a movie theater. Okay, let's get to the cameras here for just a moment, because Tori brought this up. I think it was Tori. Maybe it was Sydney. I don't know. Brought this up. But a camera, your more expensive cameras use a log system, commonly referred to as maybe S-log or logging. But what it is, it's a very, very flat area. Well, not area. It produces a very flat overall tone of a picture. It looks washed out. It's not as crisp and clean as a pocket brownie is. And that's simply because those cameras are designed to work with color grading effects in post-production to take that final picture. A wedding photographer, they'll take these pictures, and they'll sit down, and this is why people pay the big bucks for the big editing programs to go in and produce those fantastic photographs that just cannot be duplicated with your cell phone. I mean, cell phone takes nice pictures, but there's no comparison between a $5,000 or $6,000 single lens reflex camera and a cell phone, or even a point and shoot camera. Now, having said that, there is a lot of cameras that are I'm going to say the prosumer market. You're starting to see more and more of these logging cameras available in price ranges people can afford. It's not uncommon to find a camera like this that shoots with a log format that is less than $3,000. And that's certainly not out of the realm of a serious YouTuber. Casey Neistat, when he's doing his thing, I mean, he'll be the first one to tell you color grading that's his hobby, that's his thing. That's what he likes to do. Because he can take that flat-looking film and make it pop. And he does that through the use of LUTs. So he color corrects, then does his color grading, and makes it his own. Let me see what I've got here. Okay, S-log. It's the gamma curve that is optimized under the assumption that grading will be performed in the post-production process. So the S-log gamma curve and the S-gamut color reproductions are used for shooting such images. So what cameras use log? Let's do that. Let's search for that. Okay. C-log or Canon log on Canon cameras, including C-log 2 and C-log 3, D-log UV cameras, F-log on Fujifilm, N-log on Nikon. This is a great article. Let's just jump right into this one. Once touted as a headlining feature on only the highest grade digital video cinema cameras, such as the Sony Cinalta line, logarithmic recording has become a mainstay on more affordable professional products such as the Canon EOS C series. That's not all their EOS cameras, but their C series. And more accessible through prosumer products like the Sony A series mirrorless cameras. So it's not in every camera. But I think this is a good representation of a linear log. But the problem is that nothing's linear in nature. So therefore there has to be curves in this. And this is what your lookup tables do. Okay. So same picture, left and right. The S-log image is on the right-hand side. This is the raw footage out of a camera. This is post-production. So this is a post-production, and then this is graded. So this pretty much shows the 4 steps. You go from raw into the color correction, into the graded. And I certainly encourage you, if you have an interest in this, to delve into it. It's a fascinating subject. Is it going to make any difference as to who's watching your video content? Well, maybe not, but it certainly can present more of a personal satisfaction in the content that you're putting out. That's not to say any of this stuff replaces just point and shoot from the cell phone. That's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is if you want to go deeper into your content from a cinema type look, it certainly isn't going to push anybody away. Are you going to want to do this on everything? No, because of the amount of time that it takes to do that. But you do hear people talking about the color grading and color correction, and I have mentioned one of the real downfalls, in my opinion, with Filmora is if you're using multiple cameras for the same shot. And it's not a good editor for that. You take something like PowerDirector, and very easily you can have 4 camera inputs coming in, and it handles it without breaking a sweat. But the underlying problem behind that is one of those cameras could be your cell phone. One of those could be a video camera. One of those could be a point and shoot camera, like maybe a G7. One of those could be something like a GoPro. And the pictures coming out of all those different cameras of the same subject at the same time under the same lighting are not equal. They're not the same. Not in color, not in quality. So that just creates another chore for the editing program. What am I going to do to assemble all these different products together into a finished product that I can share with the world and make it look good? If I was doing a video of Sherry presenting one of her cooking videos in the kitchen, and I have the overhead shot and I have a shot from the side, and I can show them both on the screen at the same time, and you can see that, wow, is she wearing 2 different shirts? Because the color's off. So that all has to be corrected. And for correcting it within PowerDirector, it's very, very easy. It is not so easy with Filmora. I know that with Premiere Pro is also that also can handle it without any problem. And what's the Mac? iMovie? Yeah, iMovie is another one that can handle it without any problem. A couple of David Fincher, famous movie director. This is only a 1 minute 47-second video. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to let it play in the background here as we're talking, but because you can see the coloring and stuff that he utilizes in his movies here. He's considered to be one of the better ones to utilize this. If you see what you're seeing on the screen here, you can see how it almost tells a story with just by looking at the colors. You don't even have to hear it. You can see this story. They're using the term unbalanced.
Morgan's in there.
Morgan's in here. Morgan, so good to see you, my friend. We've already talked all kinds of bad things about you, and we met every word of it. Thank you for coming. Yes, and that's what I said. Premiere Pro is really good. But I'm sure that Morgan can also share this. Then you utilize different cameras. The color from each of those cameras is unique to that camera. You may have one that says that it's recording at 30 frames a second, but in fact it's doing 29.97 frames per second. Some cameras record at 25 frames a second. Some have a variable frame rate, which starts at 24 and goes to 30. And you're trying to mix this in an editing program that you have all these different formats. You have movie format, MP4 format, WMV format, and try to put all these together and create a finished product out of it. Well, let's even go a step further. A lot of cameras will, I'm going to use the term cycle. After X amount of time, they start a new file. That way none of their files get to be super huge. Now, it's seamless when you line the files up together. However, they're separate files. So if you have, let's just say you did some B footage for 45 minutes of something, you maybe, depending upon what type of camera it is and what the settings are set at, it may create 4, 5, 6 files for that 40, 45 minutes of film time, that you have to splice those together to get a single file to compare against a single file from another camera that has that entire length of time. It's going to be very easy to match the sound together, but geez, you have to splice those files together, and you have to align it by sound and light and camera, and you have to get all that right, or else all of a sudden it's as they're talking, their lips are moving and the words are not matching. There's nothing more irritating in my mind than that when that happens. I don't think I put this one up here, and I apologize. So what I'm doing here is I'm kind of convincing you to come back into this again and get these links out of this chat. But I will add these links later in the description as well. But that's the link to this one we just showed. This is another one, Color Theory and Film. And actually, there's a number of episodes on this one. But this is one that I thought was extremely good. So let me put the link in here for this one as well. And I had one more that I wanted to reference here for you. And let me grab the link for that one. So after the live stream's over, I'll come back in and I'll put all these links back in the description if you'd like to refer back. If you'd like to take this to the next level and do some of your own research and going back in and finding different ways to use these. The LUTs do not, I don't want anybody in here to go out and buy LUTs. There's various selections that are available for free. You can pay for them. There's no question about it. You can pay for them. This is this is a website called the LUT Store. 120 plus LUTs for filmmaking. and they have some pretty neat examples on this page, the before and after for this particular lot, and they have the demonstration thing on the front here, so I can play with it and show you what that lot does. So this is the before, and then this is the after. And another one, and they call this one orange teal. And I'll just swing it back and forth in here. You can see what it does. It's very apparent on the greenery in front of the Volkswagen here, more so than on the Volkswagen. But you can see what it's doing here. And then this one is called orange teal. Oops, let me grab it here. And another one. This one's pretty dramatic as far as the grass here in the background. And just look at the color of the water here on where it is right now. And this huge difference. Oh, must be the COVID thing. I see she wearing her mask. Looks like a little koala bear here. Okay, and like I say, this is actually a storefront. Of course, they're showing off some of their I'm going to say maybe better ones here. But 2020 premium pack, $39 is what they're on sale. It's so all these can be purchased. But equivalent to all these can probably be found for free with a little bit more looking on the website. All right. So with that, Morgan, I agree with what you're saying, but depending upon how you have done your filming and what cameras you use, that will not always work. Just for example, if your sound is totally disconnected from your video, well, that presents its own unique set of issues to get it synced together here. If it is synced to your video, there are programs like PowerDirector that I believe has kind of a little bit better feature than that, because it will just automatically go in and analyze the audio from various clips and match them together. It's doing the same thing, but it's doing it automatically, where you don't have to slide anything and match it. Yeah, I'll walk out of the room and say action. So, anybody have any questions? I'm just hoping that everybody maybe had a chance to learn something. Maybe I know what we didn't talk about. There's one other thing we didn't talk about, and that is, and I totally forgot about it. So let me do this. I'm going to bring PowerDirector back up here. They have some of their LUTs suffixed by the letters HDR. And HDR is a short acronym for what is called high dynamic range, which is becoming more and more of a thing nowadays. And the high dynamic range video is I don't know if it originated with television sets, but that's where you're typically seeing it more so than anything. But video is in the same way. But the high dynamic range video technology, and I'll just read this to you, is the next great leap forward to reproducing what the naked eye sees in colors and in contrast between the brightest whites and the darkest blacks. HDR video is about recreating image realism from camera through post-production to distribution and display. Technically speaking, HDR video standards encompass more than just higher peak brightness and lower black levels. HDR also supports a wider color palette, new transfer functions, greater bit depth, and static or dynamic metadata. The good news is that HDR is here to stay. The bad news is that lack of industry consensus around HDR video formats will be around for a while too. So there's multiple formats out there, and they don't all play nice with each other. But it's coming out. And PowerDirector has implemented some HDR formats into some of their LUTs. So they also have done that through some of their onboard editing for their color grading. All right, so that was the other thing that I wanted to just mention, since we're picking up some new verbiage here, some new things to talk about. Well, no question, farming our backyard, it does get easier with practice. But I can also, can I show you? What can I show you? Let's do this. Let's try this one. No, don't say the changes. No. Let's see if I can pull this up. I don't know if I still have enough of it here or not. Okay. I do. So let me take all this stuff off the timeline. And what I have here is I have 3 different camera angles that I put together on this. What I bring down? One on the top, right angle, and left view. So this is from 3 different cameras, all taken at the same time. And with PowerDirector, to sync these, I just select all 3 of them. They're all 3 on different timelines. And I go sync by audio. And it goes through and analyzes the audio tracks on all 3 of these files. Actually, take that back. There was actually 4 here. So let me go ahead and bring down the 4th one. Again, we'll just highlight them all and we'll just sync them by audio. This is how easy this is to get these 4 cameras, and it could be more, to get these 4 cameras synced together. So it's using the native microphone on all of the cameras but one. And on the one camera, I'm using it's a plug-in Rode mic, a shotgun mic. That's my primary audio, and I'll use that audio throughout the entire video. Okay. Let me show you more of the timeline tracks here. So here's the 4 timeline tracks. And you can see how it's put all these, aligned them so that if I come into here, you'll hear a you probably hear a slight almost echoing here.
Okay. Good afternoon, folks. Today's dinner is going to be Mississippi chicken. Now, I've made Mississippi roast plenty of times, and we just love it. I figured.
Okay, so I'll turn off the sound on the tracks that I don't want to utilize the sound, but it has lined up the video with the sound to all of those. But just hearing the
Not
one
pepper
track,
much. I like chicken, so
it's reduced the
Daryl eats
stereotype
it 'cause I
effect.
like it. It's not, he's like a meat and potato guy. So we're going to try this. So I sprayed the inside of my crock pot. Calls for about 5 pounds of chicken.
So I could turn off of
these
this
chickens-
camera.
are on steroids, so I have a feeling this is more than 5 pounds, but that'll be fine because it'll work for leftovers for tomorrow.
Then an overhead shot.
Oh, it's being a slippery little bugger here.
So anyway, with that,
Yeah.
that's how you
Do
can.
it this way.
That's how easy it is to line up 4 different cameras so that the sound comes out equally and is all synced to the speech is synced to the mouth, I guess is the easiest way to say it. Thank you, Farming Our Backyard. Appreciate your comments here. Well, folks, I've used up my hour. So, having said that, I want to thank you all for being here. If you have a topic you'd like to talk about next week, send us an email. We're moving in on Christmas time, so maybe Santa will be bringing you something in your stocking or in your computer that you can play with for the next year. Don't know. Sherry, you got anything? Want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Special thank you to our moderators, and a very, very special thank you to our Smudges pack that are in the room. If you'd like to be a part of Smudges pack, would love to have you. Just click that join button down below. It only, for a very, very nominal fee, you get more than that back every month in products we send you. So everybody have a great evening. Who's on tonight? You recall? I'm sorry, off the top of my head, I'd have to go look and see who's on later. So everybody take care. Have a good evening. Thank you so much for being here, and we will see you Thursday night, I hope. Take care, everyone. Good night.